sign-up board is still wide open. Anybody's welcome. Sign yourselves on up. It's going to be a free-for-all in here. But you can read Simon's poems for free. He won't even charge you. Usually they do. Simon, take it away, part 2.
Yay, part 2 of me. So, again, if you want to take some pamphlets, I have to get rid of all those. There are some from April, some from last week. There are different colors. Choose one from each pile if you want. All right. So I selected some more poems to read to you guys. This one is a fairly recent poem. It's called Perfect. So, perfect. Perfect is not this. Filled with false beliefs, we laugh at each other. You laugh at everyone. I laugh at myself. It is hard when we try. It hurts when we hold back. The laughter builds up inside like broken anger. And so we sit, waiting. I long to tell you, but you are so far from here, even when you are here. I remember when words used to be enough, held together, falling apart. Seems like nothing is ever anymore together or apart. Held or fallen. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so this is one of the oldest poems that I have typed up. This is from 1998 or around 1998. This one's called Harvest, and this is the way I used to write. So, 1998, Harvest. The day started shrinking 3 months ago. The cold wilderness of winter moving, yet unseen, closer. Leaves recognizing fate cling to their final hours, twitching in the wind, collecting passing raindrops. Squirrels edge towards frenzy, defending their hoards in preparation for winter meals, and I put on a sweater. Does any of this seem worthwhile to you? I ask not out of curiosity, but because I know we agree that this is meaningless to us. We are not alive in the sense that we hoard and collect, not out of need. We know each other too well, you say. I smile back at you. You take one last drag off your cigarette and send it sailing out to the wet grass, and turn away and into the house. Harvest. Thanks, guys. So this next one, again, is from more recently. So this is from this month, like maybe 2 weeks ago. This one's called Starting. So, starting. I should start right here, but I haven't found myself yet. Give me a minute. One more. They add up. Faster than I just divide and subtract. Levels of reduction, reducing me. It doesn't make sense moving forward, but I am too far ahead as it is. The cars passing by, different directions on different sides. I am still sitting still in this spot, right here, waiting to start. Starting. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna read this one next. This one's a little bit older. This one's actually very local. So this one's about East Rock, which is right over there. This one's called On Faith, and I read this one here before. This one's a little bit longer, but I wrote this one a while ago. I live in Milford, which is a couple towns over, and I actually wrote this on top of East Rock. I rode my bike over to East Rock, and I rode to the top, and that's where I wrote this poem. And I revised it a little bit since then, but this is pretty much from the top of East Rock. It's called On Faith. On Faith. Cracked asphalt, long retired from use by a heavy steel gate as a security measure against rogue souls who took lives or to protect those who lost theirs, leads the way up the backside of East Rock. For those who wish to ascend under their own power, zigzagging steadily, a moderate pitch, rising in contrast to sheer walls of tan trap rock, stained darker in streaks of cascading spring thaws and adolescent spray cans, confessing love and presence. The ancient frame under me creaks, a French 10-speed, older than I, complaining as I do all the work, pumping legs, pushing the whole rig forward, steadily climbing towards a purpose no greater than destination. The top, crowded with cars and kids, and adults trying to steer both. My sweat boils to the surface, free from the steady, drying wind of cruising speed, and pours in tiny rivers, cutting channels through dust-strewn skin, darkening clothing of shirt and pants, before dripping to pavement, instantly evaporating into already humid air. The periphery of onlookers seems disinterested in the view. The only reason they step out of their air-conditioned Escalade and Yukon, adventurous spirits exploring the savage lands of New Haven in outfitted four-wheel drives. I walk my one-wheel drive Peugeot to a stacked stone wall, leaning it against the tan rock, and walk out to the edge. The streets of the city stretch perpendicular, a gridwork of graves under cloud shadow, sliding and distorting over treetops and buildings. The contours of the landscape, the cluster of downtown, natureless in contrast to the surrounding greens of Woodbridge and Orange, evidence of man made sparse from the bird's eye, not even a thin trail of smoke rising from the chimney of some sylvan home, but downtown stands as proud monument to years of living without nature, surrounded by nature. It is in the midst of the sprawl of concrete and brick, from the long swaths of green lawn, framed by asphalt rivers, ferrying cars and buses, rise the spires of three Protestant churches, almost 200 years old, reminders to passers-by, monument to God's everlasting glory, as their white-capped peaks unceasingly stretch towards a heaven just out of our reach. But on the edge of town, rising beyond industrial complexes and slums of the State University, extending into the wilds of Woodbridge, above Dam Reservoir, stands the sister, West Rock, now deserted, the once thriving with picnics and tourists, children and American steel, Whaley and Goff. Hidden from view away to the north lie the awkward rounded hills of an ancient giant, the crown of his head scraped away by industrial vandals, his left hip weighted down by a romantic tower from which one might view the surroundings without nature standing in one's way. And I stand alone on top of this crag, contemplating longevity, contemplating trinities, the three peaks of man built by God, the three peaks of man built in God's name, the three peaks of God rising even higher. How long will it take for the spires of God to crumble? And how long his mountains? On faith. Thanks, guys. That's my set.